Okay, so I'm going to get straight to the point with this one. I've made a few videos on the subject, and I don't want to cling to this one subject too much, but I do want to make this point. And it's a direct message to those who are slavishly defending the Chinese government, who don't like what I'm saying, and who are blatantly promoting an agenda on my channel and elsewhere. Um, To be clear here, I'm not saying that everyone who supports the position of the Chinese government is a troll. I'm not saying that everyone who disagrees with me works for the Chinese government. But it is a fact that the Chinese government uses its army of online netizens to promote them in a constantly positive light and attack anyone who criticizes them. This is an extreme nationalist agenda which the Chinese government has been using for a long time. The Russian government uses it as well. So if you have a username like BBC, CNN is stupid Western media, I'm going to see right through it. I'm going to see what you're doing. It doesn't take rocket science to see what you're doing. If you can understand English, then listen carefully to this. On the video I made about Wang Yi, was it a provocative video? Yeah. But I made it to balance things out. Because when you people, and I'm talking specifically about aggressive nationalists, get onto the Facebook page of a Canadian journalist and try to harass her and bully her, it needs to be balanced out. You people need to understand that you can't always get your own way. You can't just demand that you have your view and no one else can have their view. You can't come to Western countries, live and study in Western countries, and just point blank insult us and expect no response. Not a chance in hell. Western countries are very tolerant and we do believe in freedom of expression. That's why you're enabled to do what you do. That's why you can freely use Facebook in Western countries. That's why you can upload all your anti-Western bile, and there's not much we can do about it. Um, I'm not a xenophobe at all. In fact, I'll show you something. See the four flags I have now? What flag do you think that is? So I'm not a xenophobe at all. There's many things I like about China, and there's many things I like about Chinese people. I've known many decent, honest, generous Chinese people. But I shouldn't have to keep explaining that because the fact of the matter is, if you people are too sensitive, I'm referring specifically to the ultra nationalists, it's your own damn fault. Um, some of us are sick and tired of having to pander to your sensitivities and your aggressive nationalism. When you're in a Western country, you damn well respect us. Okay? You expect Westerners to behave in China. You come to the West, you behave when you're in the West. And as for you idiots who keep turning it around and saying, what about the Canadian government doing this? Or what about the American or British government doing that? I've made over 1,300 videos. I have been very consistent in my channel in terms of speaking my mind about any given issue. And I have frequently criticized issues that are going on in Western countries. For example, I have been very critical of the British tabloid press. I have been critical about America's gun laws. I have been critical about a wide range of things that are going on in Western countries. So you can't accuse me of bias. You'll fall flat with that claim. Um, I'm not an idiot. Don't think that because we have values in terms of freedom of expression, that enables you to just come on my channel and insult me. No, I have the remit to say fuck you if I want to. Um, just like if you uploaded a video, you would probably block me. But being a commie, you wouldn't allow different opinions. Um, so yeah, I really have no respect for your argument and your position. On that particular video, I have actually allowed different points of view. So that shows that I'm open minded, that I allow people who disagree with me, and I'll continue to do that. But if you attack me personally, or you're blatantly pushing the CCP agenda, you don't deserve to be on my channel. As far as I'm concerned, you don't deserve to be using websites outside Communist Party control. Because all you're doing is trying to promote their agenda. That's your sole purpose for being on YouTube. Go around all the videos about China, spreading their propaganda about how wonderful the Chinese government is and how awful the West is. It's pathetic. It's utterly, utterly pathetic. And I am so fed up with people who come to the West and think they can have this attitude. Um, and it's one of two things. I've mentioned this many times. You either live or work in the West and you're using Facebook, yet you're defending a government that stops you using these websites, which is just a ridiculously ironic position to be in, or you're in China and you're using a VPN, in which case you're still blocking, you're getting through a blocked website. So either way, you're being hypocrites. That is just a fact. If I completely anti-China, if I said, "Oh, I hate everything Chinese," and I wasn't open-minded and I said everything was awful, then I would be a hypocrite because I eat Chinese food. I probably components of my computer are made in China. But the point I'm making is, if you're going to come out with these sort of sweeping statements about the West, then just be prepared for Westerners to fight back. We can be defensive as well. The nationalism, generally speaking, in most Western countries isn't as strong. Okay, you'll get it among Trump supporters, but generally speaking, Westerners are not so sensitive. We can take a hell of a lot more criticism than some of you people obviously can. Why are you so thin skinned? Why do you care so much about one guy making a video? Why am I so important to you people? I'm just one guy sharing my views. You don't have to agree with me. Why is it so necessary for you to come onto my video and either insult me personally or try so hard to get me to see your point of view? It's going to work. I've got very solid convictions on this. I take the view that if you're in a Western country, you have to respect Western values. Simple as that. And, when you're pointing out all the imperfections of the West, that's not proving anything because Western journalists have actually investigated these things. They have actually reported these things. Western governments get criticized all the time. All the time. You think there isn't a bias? Or you think that Western media is just biased against China? Actually, they spend relatively little time reporting about China. Most of the news is economic. There's very little news actually about the human rights issues. Most of the news, for example, in the UK right now, is about the EU referendum. Okay? Most of the news that I can see in the States is about the Orlando massacre and about the US presidential campaign. So get over yourselves. You're not victims. Stop crying and behaving like victims because you're not. Okay? If you are living in a Western country, chances are you're relatively well off by Chinese standards. You're a lot better off than a lot of your compatriots. So stop whinging, stop crying, and just accept that in Western countries we have freedom of the media, or at least a concept of free media. That means that Western journalists are expected and do criticize or question those in power. Does that mean they're always right? No. And just for the record, I'm not saying that Western media or Western journalists are above criticism. You have your right to disagree with what journalists are saying. You don't have a right to try and bully them into silence. So seriously, stop crying, stop feeling sorry for yourselves, and stop acting like you're a victim. It's kind of one of two things. It's either arrogantly talking about how strong China is and how, you're going to humiliate America and you're going to be the next superpower and all the rest of it. So it's a very jingoistic, very proud sort of middle kingdom attitude. Either that or it's, oh, stop picking on China. We're victims. Get over yourselves. Okay? Just get over yourselves because this really is not worth all of this outrage. In the end of the day, a journalist asks a politician a challenging question, and you guys are acting like Wang Yi is your father or your uncle. China has 1.4 billion people. Why are you taking it so personally? If you don't want to be associated with the Communist Party, then stop always slavishly defending them no matter what. Try and be a little bit more open minded. Just try.